with that nice drive you just made, because it landed in a sand trap." They both laughed, because the whole damned golf course was a sand trap. By the time she was 9, Alice had moved 5 times. She had been too little to remember the first 2 moves, but the last 3 were sharp in her memory. It was always the same. Father would come home one night and tell them all that in 2 weeks they were going to live in a wonderful new place with a bigger house, a nicer town, and better schools. Alice and her brother and sister, older by 5 and 6 years, all would start crying because they knew they would never see their best friends again. And then Father would send them from the table before they finished their dinners because crying was not allowed. Father was very strict about a lot of things, like not crying. But he was never mean, like Melinda's dad, who had slapped Melinda's face once when Alice had been right there, watching. If Father sent you from the table, he always brought snacks up to your room later, and by the time you woke up in the morning, he was smiling and gentle again. "Come into the living room, Alice. We'll have a little talk, just you and me." He sat in the big brown recliner Mother hated because it didn't go with the white floral sofa, and patted the footrest for Alice to sit on. She hitched up the legs of her pedal pushers just above the knees, because that's what Father did when he sat down in pants, and for some reason it always made him smile to see her doing it. She sat obediently, almost reverently, before her father, big eyes eating him up, little mouth open in breathlessness. Father-daughter talks were rare in this house, and almost exclusively disciplinarian, like when her older sister was caught smoking or using mascara. But Alice never did anything wrong, so she wasn't afraid, just excited. He handed her a well-thumbed paperback novel, the kind her mother removed from the bookcase and hid in a closet cabinet of the buffet whenever guests were expected. "These are trash," she told Alice's father, "and totally inappropriate for a child." Alice remembered that day because her mother had raised her voice, and she'd never done that before. Ever since, only big fat books with no pictures on the cover were permitted in the bookcase. Alice read every one her father gave her, even though she had to look up an awful lot of words in the battered Webster's dictionary. But the best days were when Father went to the cupboard of the trash books and selected one for her to read. They all had pictures of bad women on the cover. You could tell they were bad because they wore bright red lipstick and blouses that bared their shoulders and showed the tops of really big bazoomies. There was just such a picture on the cover of this book, but instead of a man pulling on the woman's arms, she was running from a really big fire. "Don't show your mother this book." "I won't." "Don't show anyone this book ever. Not your mother, not your sister or brother, not your friends. Hide it in a very safe place. Even after you grow up, you must keep it hidden. It's our little secret. And remember, the part about the generator. I marked it for you. Read it again and again until you have it memorized. Is that clear?" "Yes, sir. But what's a generator?" "It's a machine that makes electricity. You can use it to run things in case the power goes out." "Oh, okay. I'll memorize that part." "All right. Run along now." 2 days later, she and Mother drove Father to the airport. He had to travel a lot for his job, and he always had a briefcase handcuffed to his wrist. Alice loved going to the airport. Everything echoed in the big spaces with their tiled floor. She always wore her patent leather shoes, even though the buckles pinched her feet, because they made hard clicking sounds, just like the high heels the stewardesses wore. Her brother and sister stayed home, but Mother always took Alice with her. She was the baby, and the last time Mother had left her home with her siblings, they'd locked Alice in the hall closet for the whole time she was gone. Father always squatted down in front of her and held her by the shoulders when he was about to leave. This time, it felt like he might actually hug her. But it didn't happen. "Are you reading the new book?" Alice nodded. "I'm halfway through, but it's a little scary." She peeked around her father to make sure Mother wasn't listening. "It's just a story, right?